Hey guys, welcome back to my channel DZCan Toy Reviews. Hope everyone is doing well, and today we're gonna be looking at one of the new recent releases from Storm Collectables, Darkseid. So surprisingly, Darkseid is actually my first Storm Collectables figures. I have heard a lot of good things about them, and I'm glad they're branching out to do more DC stuff instead of the Street Fighter and King of Fighters or Mortal Kombat series. As we can see, the front of the box and the back with some box art. Now let's unbox this Darkseid and see what it's all about. Now, straight out of the packaging, Darkseid looks quite good and he's quite a big figure. As we can see, we got the figure over here. Let's do a 360 of this big guy. In terms of accessories, the Storm Collectables Darkseid actually does quite well in my opinion. Now we can check out what does he come with. So right out of the box, the Injustice Darkseid Storm Collectables have quite a good amount of accessories. As we can see here on the side, we're provided with two Omega Beam effects. Now these look quite nice. They're made out of a red clear plastic. And in terms of head sculpt, we also get 3 extra ones. Over here, we have a grinning face. In the middle, we have a screaming face. And over here, we have an Omega Beam charging face. So all 3 looks quite nice. In terms of spare hands, we have 2 gripping palms and 2 open palms and 2 slapping palms, I guess. Accessories are very well done. Here's a closer look at this Omega Beam charging face. This is one of my favorites. Here's a look at the screaming face. And here's the grinning face. Okay, so in terms of articulation, the Storm Collectables Darkseid does actually pretty decent in my opinion. In terms of the head, it can rotate 360. The arm goes all the way up, about this far. It's a little bit hindered by this rubber upper piece of the Darkseid's body, but I think this is good enough. We have the elbow arm joint swivel. We have the elbow to 90 degrees, and then we also have the wrist joint rotation. And we also have a ab crunch. Waist goes side to side, pretty good. Leg goes forward, backwards, backwards. Knee joint cannot do a full 90 degrees bend. And the foot joint goes front and back. Side to side is a little bit hindered. And we have the toe pivot. And we have a leg rotation over here. And this was pretty surprising for me, as we can see Darkseid can actually do a full split. Not sure why Darkseid would do that, but it's good to know that he can do it. So props to Storm Collectables for that. All in all, in general, the articulation I would say is pretty good. I would give it a 8 out of 10 in general. Yeah, you can pretty much do all the poses that you would need a Darkseid to do. I mean, he's not like a hyper articulated guy anyways. Usually he just sits there or walks around and pound people. So for whatever you're gonna do or pose and take picture with, he's gonna do a pretty good job of that. Now, in terms of aesthetics, Darkseid actually looks pretty good. Storm Collectables did a pretty good job on it. As we can see, the armor is painted in this kind of shiny metallic, and they separated the colors pretty well. We have the blue, the gold, the black parts. And I guess for the upper piece to the skirt armor, they decided to use a kind of a rubber piece. This way they can make sure the articulation is not hindered as much. We can also see on the knee pads over here, there's silver brushings. So these highlights are pretty good too. Also on the head as well, we see on the head armor, there's sort of a silver brush mark. So these extra details are always welcome. Now this is Darkseid with the Omega Beam charging head accessory. This is Darkseid with the screaming face, and this is Darkseid with the grinning face. All in all, he looks pretty good with all of the head accessories. Now I know many of you are probably most interested about the Omega Beam part effect. So what's interesting about it is actually we see the charging Omega Beam effect over here. We can actually take these off like this, and then we take these big ones over here and we plug them in, line them up. It's actually quite tight, so it holds it pretty well. And plug this one in, and we have the Darkseid Omega Beam effect part. So something else I noticed is that you see these beam parts actually separate at the ends as well. So if you want, you can have this kind of face, which I think from the front it looks a bit funny with the hole, but on the side it can look like he's trying to blast the Omega Beam as well. So there's many use to them. So let's now just plug these back in for now. And another thing that I noticed is that when you look at the Omega Beams, after you plug them in, they can also rotate, so you can kind of angle them how you like, the rotation, to switch the pattern around a bit. So maybe if you rotate this way, it looks better from the side angle, and if you rotate it like this, then maybe it looks better from the front angle. Now let's back this up a bit, something like that. So the playability is definitely here. I'm sure many of you guys have much better imagination than I do in terms of posing. Yeah, there's a lot of fun to be had here. Now, this is Darkseid attached to his Omega Beam accessory. So all in all, he looks pretty good with his Omega Beam accessory. Now, for a size comparison, we have what a lot of you guys might be thinking about, which is the Mezco Darkseid. So in terms of Darkseid on the market, I think these two are probably some of the best at this scale. So clearly the Injustice one is a lot taller, and the design is a more modern design of Darkseid, and the Mezco one is a more classic design of Darkseid. Pick your poison, whatever you want. If you're more interested in a classic Darkseid, then you can go with the Mezco one. If you're more interested with a modern looking one, or you really like the design of the Injustice Darkseid, then for sure get the Storm Collectables one. And just on a side note, I saw some reviewers and also on Instagram, many people actually took the Mezco cape from the Darkseid and put it on the Storm Collectables ones, which actually does fit, so that's actually pretty cool. Here is an example of the Storm Collectables Darkseid now with the Mezco Darkseid cape. So that actually looks pretty cool, and it definitely works. If you have both, that's something you can try and you can do, so that's great. And let's now do some other size comparisons. Let me take this off. Alright, here we have a SH Figure Arts scale. This is a Injustice SH Figure Arts Superman. For those of you who wants the Injustice collection, this is about how they stack up together. As we can see, the scaling looks pretty good. I mean, Darkseid, the scaling in general is pretty easy. So any type of 1/12 figure you have would work. He's like this new god being who can change his size anyways, right? That's what the comics said, I believe. Yeah, this is the SH Figure Arts Injustice Superman. You can definitely take some great pictures with them together. And here we have a size comparison compared to a Figma. As you can see, Darkseid towers above her as well. Here's the Revotech Venom. Here's the Mafex John Wick. So yeah, all in all, the Storm Collectables Darkseid was scaled pretty well with all types of figure, whether it's a Mafex, Mezco, SH Figure Arts, any 12 scale would work. I don't have a Marvel Legends here with me, but it will work as well. For all your collecting needs, picture taking needs, this Darkseid will definitely do the job. Alright, so final verdicts on the figure. Storm Collectables definitely did a very good job on this Injustice Darkseid release, and it makes me look forward to whatever they're gonna release next in their DC line. Now, in terms of looks as well, this is a more modern looking Darkseid, so if you like the look of this Darkseid, definitely consider grabbing it. If you like a more classic looking Darkseid, you can consider the Mezco one, but if you're like me, who likes both, then you can always pick both of them up. And in terms of accessories, it's very well jam-packed with 6 pair of extra hands, 3 different head sculpts, and that very awesome Omega Beam effect part. In conclusion, This Darkseid is definitely worth picking up if you need a Darkseid in your collection, as he scales very well with all types of different figures and lines. Well guys, thanks for watching, and as always, stay young at heart, and see you guys soon.